Welcome to this overview of Smart Vision's data science solution for Net Promoter Score analysis. Predictive Promoter is a package of software and tailored services as well as bespoke training, and it's based on IBM's market-leading predictive analytics workbench SPSS modeler. Predictive Promoter is designed to help you move your organization beyond simply calculating your Net Promoter scores towards developing an in-depth understanding of the factors which are driving those scores and how you can take action to influence them. In doing so, Predictive Promoter helps us to address some pretty tough questions, such as how do the patterns in operational and transactional data explain variations in Net Promoter recommendation scores? Or what are the most critical factors associated with a customer's likelihood to recommend your organization to others? How can we predict recommendation scores of all customers, current and past, not just those that have been surveyed? And how can we mine verbatim responses and open-ended text to uncover the subtle but critical details and understand why customers decide to recommend or not? And finally, how can we identify persuadables, those customers whose profile indicates that they could be converted from being merely passively satisfied to being active promoters? So just to remind you, Net Promoter is a score and a loyalty metric developed by and a registered trademark of Fred Reichheld, Bain & Company and SAT Metrics. And it was introduced by Reichheld in his famous 2003 Harvard Business Review article, "The One Number You Need to Grow." So NPS is a key loyalty metric, and it's based on a direct question which usually goes something like, how likely is it that you would recommend our company or our product or service to a friend or colleague? And the scoring for this answer usually runs from 0 to 10 on a scale, where people indicating a score of 0 to 6 are classed as detractors, whereas people indicating a score of 7 or 8 are seen as passives, and only those giving a score of 9 or 10 are seen as promoters. So as a case study or worked example, we're going to look at how we applied Predictive Promoter to the data for an organization in the hospitality industry that were interested in carrying out advanced analysis on what was driving their Net Promoter score. And the data itself was both operational and transactional in nature. It concerned around 4,500 guest bookings for a large hotel chain. And the fields themselves included things such as the guest gender, their spend, any discounts that they enjoyed, the number of nights per booking, the booking source, as well as, of course, their final recommendation score. We also had, for around 1,600 guests, further details as to the reasons for the score in the form of verbatims or open-ended text. And we found that a lot of these responses, when we mined them, were extremely insightful with regard to what was actually driving the scores themselves. So the distribution of the Net Promoter scores for this particular organization looked as follows. And each guest had provided an answer to the question, how likely is it that you'd recommend X hotels to a friend or a colleague? The hotel chain's management team were particularly interested in carrying out a deeper analysis of the recommendation scores at the customer level in order to understand what transactional operational factors were most strongly related to the score, to estimate what other hotels' guest scores were, whether or not they were promoters or detractors, even when they hadn't been asked to provide a score, and to use these estimates to try and target high-spending passives for a special offer. They were also particularly interested in what patterns can be uncovered in customer comments or verbatim text that would help them predict the NPS score in future. So we're going to look at how we went about doing that, and our agenda follows predicting the NPS score based upon the operational transactional data. We're going to look at estimating the NPS score of other customers where we didn't actually ask them to provide a recommendation score for us. And finally, we're going to look at uncovering patterns in customer comments or verbatim text and see if they yield any interesting details as to why customers are scoring the way they do.